Thank you. It's a joy for me to be here today. First, I want to say I didn't want to write that book before. I was writing another one. But suddenly I lost someone I loved by a massive heart attack, and life changed. And I stopped writing the book I was writing because I couldn't continue. It was too strong. And I stopped. And a few months later, when I started to write again, it was another book. It was this one. It was this one because I saw the heart first. I mean, like a strong picture, a strong motif. And I saw it in its double nature, in its double character. I mean, a muscle, an organ on a hand, and another hand, a place of affects, a place of love, of emotions in our body, which is a symbol. I mean, an organ and a symbol. And I think the double nature of that organ gave me the idea to build a novel with that. And I see also, I thought that I could write a novel on a heart transplant because I think it could be a very strong and intensive narrative book. First, because it is a 24-hour novel, a 24-hour book, with three strong kinds of unities that can give the shape of a classical tragedy, but in the reverso, because in classical tragedy you leave the stage by the death, and in that book you leave the stage by life. You know, you start by death and you live by life, and it's very important. The three unities are time, the one day, 24 hours for transferring a heart from a body to another one. Place, hospital, and in a town where I was born, where I grew up, Le Havre, and action. So time, place, and action. So it was very strong, a strong unit of narrative. And also, I saw this book because I wanted to give a song for my relative and a song for that man who died. And I think that kind of subject could build voices, a polyphonic choral of voices, and also build a very strong team, a team of character that all converge towards that action of transferring. So we follow the heart in that book. We follow a process, and we follow it from a surfing session in the dawn morning, where 3 boys are going to surf, and then to a violent brain death, to confrontation with the families, to searching on the waiting list for people who are waiting for organs, to harvesting operation, and to re-implanting operation, and to a woman who is brought back to life. And all that trajectory of that heart, all that journeys involved, I mean, philosophical, ethical, metaphysical, and also scientific and technical issues, which mean a strong cultural act, in fact. And overall, for me, because I am a novelist, language and emotional issues. I thought about that book has an epic journey and has a trajectory that could collect in a very obsessive, precise way all the detail and all the action of that operation. And in that book you won't find, I mean, main characters. There is no one character who takes power on the other. It's a collective, it's a team who is transferring that heart. But there is two characters, perhaps we meet more. Thomas, the coordinator, and Marianne, the mother of Simon. So as a starter, at the beginning of the book, it is a surfing session. And Simon, 19 years old boy, is going to surf. It's a very lyrical opening, like an opera opening. This boy is full of youth, full of warmth, full of life. But then there is a violent crash. In the middle of the book, you have a family, a couple, Marianne and Sean, the parents, they are facing Thomas. And Thomas, the coordinator, is like an angel. He is dealing with everyone in the operation at a very delicate and human level. And he is going to ask the parents if they are going to give the body of their son. And I saw in that act something completely, I was full of admiration, because I think that in that kind of moment, in that kind of chaos, person can have a deep reflection of what are they going to do with the body of the one they care the most. And in fact, Thomas is going also to follow all the operation, to all the conversation with the parents, and after that, all the operation, all the logistic of the operations. And you have to understand, and I had to understand that it was in time very conflicted, that because for the parents' time is going too fast, they would like to rewind the time, and for Thomas' time is going too fast, but for the opposite reason, that because there are someone in the waiting list, which is waiting for an organ, which is waiting for a heart. And at the end, you have a woman, Claire, 50 years old, and she is ill and she is waiting for that heart. And she could not be another person than a translator. She is a translator because she has kept in her body the room for another person, in her language, the room for another language. It was very important for me she was a translator, because the presence of the other as a language is inside her at first. So writing this book became an adventure for me, because I knew nothing about hair transplant before, and I had to do an investigation. So I went to talk to medical profession. I attend to operation. You know, there is two operations. First, harvest the organ. This one is forbidden for a person like me because it's too violent. You cut the body and you disperse all the organs. It was not allowed. But I could see the other one, the operation who saved when the heart was reimplanting into the body. And I also went to the biomedicine agency to meet the person who built the program computer to compare the compatibility of two HLA systems in two different bodies to make the matching. And it was completely incredibly interesting for me. And I also read, books on ancient Greek burials and funerals, and also had to learn that in France in 1959, we redefined the legal death and relocated it from the heart to the brain. And this legal fact allows the transplantation of organ. It was very important, and I wanted that to be in the book. So it was very like an epic story also for me to write that book. And the first person to react to that novel were people from medical profession, and they wrote to me and they phoned to me to ask me if I could speak about that book in front of their students. And they used that book with their students because and I was thinking it was completely incredible, because I am a novelist and not a scientist. And for me, it was very important in the power it was questioning the power of fiction and with the powerfulness of fiction. How fiction can add something to the scientific speech. And at the end, that book confirmed my strong and intimate relationship to literature. I mean, when I started to read when I was a teenager, I started to read because I wanted to know the world, I wanted to discover the world, I wanted to explore zones I couldn't experience in my own my own common life. And books were like gates to other world and to knowledge. And it was very important for me to build that. It was very important for me at that time to build that kind of relationship with literature. And I think now that in that case, it was I experienced a very incredible work because investigation and documentation freed the fiction, emancipates the fiction, the imagination. It's because I've done all this documentation and all this desire of precision gave me the power of building the character and the situation and the image of the fiction. And I think also that investigation, free fiction and literature, but also the literature can allow everyone to understand, think events like this one. All that remains for me the proof that a novel could shape my intimate experience of death, that I experienced it at the starting of the book. And at the end, the heart of Simon has been pumping during all the book, and something has been saved in that book. I mean, the life, it leaves you with that woman who is bring back to life. And for me, exploring that zone between death and life, exploring that frontier, exploring that, I mean, metaphysical events that involved so many issues of our contemporary world, gave me an example of what is the meaning of the fiction. I mean, not talking to everyone, but talking to each one of us. Thank you very much.